How's it, guys? Welcome back to Mesh TV. My name is Matt Brown, and today I have with me Sacha from Republic Media Group. Sacha, welcome to Mesh TV.
Thanks, Matt.
So what are some of your, what's your headline backstory? What do people need to know?
I think that's the only thing I've ever really known for sure about myself is that I've been an entrepreneur, and that for me means creating businesses. It's been incredibly creative for me, and I'm really glad I stumbled upon this foolish endeavor to start my own business. It's worked out in the end.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy starting your own business these days, and it takes a lot of guts and, I suppose, appetite for risk. But what business are you currently in at the moment?
So I'm in a variety of businesses, and it's also been a difficult one for me because people want to know what's the golden thread that links them all together, and I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
So,
do you ever work it out?
No, and that's why I say, I think the serial entrepreneur is a real thing. So I'm in media, so we have an animation company, we've been in music production, television production, ad agencies, we have a telecommunication company which is really a tech business, and we have an asset management business that looks after wealth for people.
So basically,
I've got a disease, man. I've got a disease.
Yeah. So basically, what you're describing to us is something called serial entrepreneur syndrome. It's kind of like, I suppose it goes back to that risk appetite thing. How have you approached risk in all those different businesses? Because that's fundamentally what you're in the business of, I suppose.
Yeah. So I can say yes to neither of those things. Risk appetite, or I think the other one was. But I can't say yes to either of those things, to risk or appetite. I think that when I approach a business, I approach it like there is no risk. And it's actually pure stupidity, I would say, that's on my side at that time. And luckily, then, as we go, we try and work out the problems and fix and solve them. So happy to talk about some of those things a bit later. But risk is like not in the picture at the time that we start a business. It's really all more about the excitement around possibilities.
Yeah, I was chatting to Howard Saxton the other day, and he said that an entrepreneur can be described as a man or woman jumping out of an airplane with nothing but a bunch of silkworms and expecting to land safely.
Absolutely, almost like just pure belief.
Yeah. So let's talk about risk, and I think the biggest one that most of our viewers and anybody running a business will be aware of and experiencing right now is cash flow.
Right.
And getting through month by month, making sure that you have some profit in the back and potentially look at reinvesting that inside the business that you're in. What are some of your how-to tips or experiences around funding your growth as an entrepreneur?
So for me, I think income is incredibly important, and I caution entrepreneurs about income. So one has to take income very seriously, and depending on stage of life, it shifts and changes. So I was lucky to start my business when I was very young and had a very low requirement for income. So all I needed was the first client, and that was enough for me to survive on. As far as funding was concerned, the first tip that I would share, that was shared with me as the first things I was told by one of my mentors was, don't lose people's money. He said to me, don't take people's money if you think you're going to lose it. And so that I applied very carefully in the beginning, and made sure of that. The next part was finding one angel investor, which is what I did, who was willing to back me and took a significant stake in the business, but was a person who would give me the space and the freedom to actually do what I wanted to do. So I can't say that he added huge value outside of his cash, thanks Nick, but he was very supportive from a distance and also gave me the space. Thereafter, the next stage for me, which is maybe the third stage, is raising large amounts of capital. And for that, what I've noticed is that the story has to be incredibly good. People are addicted to a great story, so make sure your story is superb, that you can get people energized with your story, and obviously using your track record of not losing people's money, having had an angel investor that you've looked after for a period of time, and now having a good story, you can raise large amounts of capital, and you should do that. to go forward, because otherwise it's very difficult to really scale a business.
Yeah. No, people like to say that no money is the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, in other words, going back to, if you're going to take money, whether that's from an angel or potentially the 3Fs, so friends, families,
Right.
or fools,
Right.
you know, they might all give you R1,000,000, but it's not the same money.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what outside of cash should entrepreneurs who are looking to fund their growth look to or look for in a potential angel, or maybe in the best case scenario, a venture capitalist?
Look, for me, it's always been someone who would give me space. So I can say that, who would just let me operate and do what I need to do, and not be highly prescriptive, because I think that's where it can go very wrong for entrepreneurs. The other part is, as entrepreneurs starting a business, one has to watch one's expenses and costs like very, very carefully, especially personal costs. Probably the biggest trap I've seen for entrepreneurs starting a business, or those that I've invested in as well, is when their personal costs are too high. The car, the house, the kids, the schools, the holidays, it just can't happen. Just can't. There's just not enough money for it, and it's a massive trap.
So basically, if you're married with kids, don't take money from from Sacha.
Yeah, like we'll literally say to young talent that we're investing in, like, show us all your costs, because we want to know how much pain you're in, so that we can go on this journey and come out the other side together successful, and not have one party feeling like they're falling apart halfway through.
Yeah. So looking back at your entire journey, what have you learned most about yourself? You know, being involved in all of these businesses and growing and taking money and, you know, doing amazing things in the marketplace. Like, what have you most learned about yourself?
It seems that I've always liked to do the same thing, so I'm trying to play to those strengths now. You know, been doing business for like over 15 years, and I'm trying to focus more on my strengths, which is really in the startup phase and the creation phase, and also in the inspiration and finding of great people. So I want to focus on that and grow that. I have obviously ventured into all the other areas of the business and found out how bad I am at like a lot of things. So I've definitely learned a lot about myself, but I'm very grateful. Certainly, the one thing I definitely know is I wasn't the smartest cat, and I'm still not the smartest cat, but I was dumb enough to actually start a business, and I'm very lucky that I made that mistake, because it's turned out to be great for me. So I don't think you have to be a genius to start a business. I think you have to have energy, have creativity, you have to be willing to go and sell. Very important. You have to believe in other people and be attracting other people towards your idea.
You've got to love the hustle.
For sure. You've got to see potential in everything. Yeah, and you've got to keep your costs low at the beginning. So I managed to get all those things right.
Cool. Most people don't. But let's talk about the MeshClub. What does the MeshClub mean to you as an entrepreneur?
So yeah, at this stage of my career, the MeshClub is a place where I can go to think, and that's something I'm trying to give myself more time to really just think about. What are the next steps? What are the ways to scale up my business? So it's a very good place for thinking, but also has the right mix of just meeting cool people that you can talk to, are like-minded, and that's really, really nice, because without that it could be quite lonely. So it's a very good mix of those two things. So it's a perfect mix for me. Got great meeting spaces that I use for brainstorming. I pull my teams away sometimes to come and meet me here. Yeah, good food, and yeah, it just works very, very well for me. And the other part I must mention is that somehow I'm not the only one. It's attracting people. It's magnetic. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of creativity in the space, and that's great to see. I mean, if this could be an infection that happens in the South African economy, we are on the right track. You know.
Fantastic. Couldn't agree with you more. One last question for you. Why do you do what you do? Like, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Can't help it. It's a disease, remember?
I'm infected, man.
It's a disease, dude. A serial entrepreneur. I just can't help myself but see an opportunity and want to get involved in it. It gives me a creative outlet. I think I'm a frustrated creative who wasn't good enough in the visual arts and the written arts. So my contribution is like business model, and also just giving people the ability, a place to express themselves in our businesses. So yeah, I just really enjoy creating.
Sacha, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story on Mesh TV.
Cool, thanks.
This is Matt, and I'll see you in a future episode. Cheers.